What's up, people? Thanks as always for passing by the channel. Much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. Just woke up, just watched the Crolla Lomachenko fight. Tried to stay up for it. I actually tried. I stayed up to about 2 and then I was done. It's always like disappointing waking up and kind of knowing the result already, right? I got so many tweets and texts and WhatsApps about the result, and I was like, fuck. Even though I kind of knew how the fight was going to play out, it's still disappointing nonetheless waking up knowing the result. Nothing worse than watching a boxing match, knowing what's going to happen. Nothing fucking worse. Nothing at all. This isn't a video, a told you so video or anything like that. There's no point in doing all that kind of stuff. A lot of people I've seen have already tweeted things like, this was always going to happen. This was expected. Why was this fight made? It was made. It was made. It was done. It was a mandatory. It wasn't as though Loma picked Crolla as a voluntary. It was a mandatory, so shit happens. And to be fair, I've watched so-called 50-50 fights that have gone that way. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, this could be a level A against a level D or 2 level A's in there and shit happens, right? So there's no point making a video talking about things like that. One thing, though, from the outset, if you were ever thinking that Anthony Crolla had a chance in this fight, then Adam Smith simply ended that in the first 10 seconds of the fight when he said Anthony Crolla has been sparring southpaws such as Frankie Gavin and Jezza Dickens in preparation for this. I mean, if you ever thought, you know, Anthony might have a chance here if he can just maybe get pot, then that kind of just went, fuck you, no chance. And that ended it all. And I was remember thinking, as soon as I heard that, I was thinking, did you just say that Anthony Crolla, in preparation for this fight, has been sparring, is it Jezza or Jazza Dickens and Frankie Gavin in preparation for the pound for pound, arguably number 1, number 2, whatever, in Lomachenko? Doesn't have a chance, and I think it proved that he didn't have a chance at all. Loma's just a different beast, a completely different animal. Every time I see him fight, even in so-called not great performances, I feel like I'm just watching a genius. And I've watched, I don't know how many fights over the years, thousands. We're into the thousands now. And I think it's just incredible when I watch him fight, just incredible. The things that he does, just, I don't know. Again, if you are 10, 11-year-old kid wanting to get into boxing, you've just got to watch tapes on this guy. Like, stop whatever you're doing. If you're going to a gym and your coach is saying do A, fuck it. No, coach, I want to watch tapes on Lomachenko. Just watch what he does. Normally, a pressure fighter comes in a form of a guy that's a bit reckless. So they come forward all the time. They're a bit reckless. They get caught, and they're good as well. When you think of pressure fighters, you think of fighters like maybe Margarita or Ricky Hatton, fighters that almost want to take one to get theirs off, right? So they're constantly on you, right? Constantly. This guy is constantly on you, forcing you to do things you don't want to do, which is fight on the back foot. Crolla doesn't want to fight on the back foot. Crolla's not a back foot counter puncher. He's making Crolla go backwards constantly with pressure, but it's not reckless because he's got such good foot movement. He's coming in at angles and you just can't hit him. So he's making you kind of like constantly breathe on the back foot and you can't hit him. He's coming in, creating angles, and you're like, for fuck's sake. I mean, Crolla in his head must be thinking when he's doing this, like, for fuck's sake. Again, growing up watching guys that were pressure fighters that used to do that, guys that threw 100 punches around, guys that just kept you on the back foot, you could land on them because it was reckless. Even a bit like Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao can be classed as a pressure fighter. But even Pacquiao, you could catch him. You could catch him coming in, as proven. You could catch Manny Pacquiao coming in. You struggle to catch this guy coming in because his foot movement is so good. And then to add to the foot movement, he throws every single punch in the book. Like, seriously, if there was a book of all the punches in boxing, Vasyl Lomachenko throws nearly all of them. So not only have you got a guy coming in different angles, you've got a guy that you don't know what punch is coming, right? I mean, I commentate on boxing. So when I commentate, I'm seeing guys throw combinations that they've clearly drilled on in training, and I can see it coming. I can see basically if his right foot goes that way, I know what punch is coming, the big right hook. I can kind of see it happening. With Loma, I'm watching because I have absolutely know what punch is coming. And I'm watching that on TV. So you can imagine a boxer that's running out of breath like Crolla was, fighting on the back foot that Crolla doesn't like to do, in that type of environment, and you're fighting someone that, you know is already better than you. We already know Loma's better than Crolla, but he's coming in at different angles. You don't know what punch is coming. It's just a nightmare. And credit to Crolla for trying, right? He tried. It wasn't a Rocky Fielding Canelo moment where I think Rocky Fielding, I'll be honest with you, I don't think gave his all. Even though he was clearly overmatched, I don't think he gave his all. Crolla tried. He tried to dig in a couple of body shots, and he got in a couple of body shots as well, by the way. But ultimately, he was in there against a chess master. And I think Crolla, I've said this before about Crolla, by the way, Crolla, and I think I've mentioned Tony Bellew, but more so Crolla. For Crolla to even get where he's got in life in terms of boxing is unbelievable. Go and look at some of the losses on Crolla's record. How has he even got there? I mean, how he's even become a world champion, headlining events at the MEN Arena, fighting Lomachenko, is a credit to his kind of perseverance and his will not to kind of give up. And I've got to applaud that. But this morning he came up against a guy that already, for me, and he's what now, 14-1, or is it 13-1, will go down as one of the best ever. I'm sorry. People might disagree with that. I'm sorry. No. He will go down as one of the best ever because we are watching a genius. And it's funny because I see people like Gervonta Davis tweet out like, who the fuck is this guy? In reference to Crolla. He'll smoke Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis has power. I'll give him that, right? This isn't about power. Boxing has never been about the guy with the biggest punch all the time. It's a guy with a good skill set. It's the guy with the good skill set that normally wins. Don't get me wrong, a punch will get you out of some holes. But Loma's a different level to Gervonta Davis. Different level. Teofimo Lopez was talking yesterday after the fight, saying it's the fight he wants. I think Teofimo needs two or three more. The fight we need to see, and it's probably not going to happen now, which is a shame, is Mikey versus Loma. But I know it was against Spence, but Mikey didn't look great against Spence. And look, Spence, for fuck's sake, you know, a guy that looks like he could make 160, but don't know. It's a good fight, but I don't know if it's going to happen now. I don't know if you're going to be comfortable sitting at 147 and walk around at 160, I'm guessing, 165, and then want to come down to 135 pounds. Are you really going to lose 2 stone? I doubt it. I doubt it very much. But again, I don't want to discredit Anthony Crolla too much. I thought he tried his hardest. Ultimately, that's what boxing's about. But going into the fight, I think a number of us boxing fans said things like, this fight shouldn't happen, no way, Crolla's not ready. And we got completely shut down by some boxers. Some boxers were like, oh, get fucking behind him, blah, 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 blah. You never know this. And we're like, well, we do know. We know. We don't have to have laced up the gloves professionally to see a competitive matchup. We knew this wasn't going to be competitive and we called it and we got shut down for calling it. The only boxer, and I give credit to this guy a lot, the only boxer, and maybe he's got his own agenda, I don't know, but the only boxer to come out and say Loma will play with Crolla and he will knock Crolla out when he wants to was Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell was the only one that actually came out and was very open and honest and gave his opinion on it. A lot of other boxers were like, get behind him, get behind him. No, we don't have to get behind him. We don't want to get behind him. So credit to Luke Campbell for being very honest and open. What do you guys think of the performance? What do you think of Loma? By the way, Loma, I think, has come out and said he's broke his right hand. So that Richard Comey unification might be delayed further. Might not even happen, to be honest. Someone else might jump the queue. But Loma said he broke his right hand in knocking down Anthony Crolla. It did look like he hit Anthony Crolla on the top of the head, which, if that's the case, then I can understand how he might have hurt his hand doing that. And what do you think for Crolla? Is that it? Done? It is difficult to come back from a knockout loss like that, even though it's against the pound-for-pound number one. Regardless, that's still quite difficult to take, not physically, but mentally. So I'll be interested to see if he comes back. It wasn't life-changing money either, by the way. Don't let anyone kind of let you think that he made life-changing money in this fight. He didn't. I think the reported purses was that Crolla was going to take $300,000, which is what, £220,000. He will get taxed in the US, not by the UK authorities, but he will get taxed by the US. And then he has to give manager, promoter fees, all that kind of stuff. So it's not life-changing money. So it's not like the kind of money you can retire on. It isn't. Nowhere near seven figures, which is why I always said that. I'm going on a bit now, sorry, but which is why I said it would have been interesting to see this fight in the UK. If this fight was in the UK, I think Matchroom and Sky would have really tried to sell it. Former world champion versus pound for pound #1, and they would have put it on pay-per-view. And then I think Crolla could have earned more. I don't know. Could he have not earned more in the UK? Could he have not earned more than £220,000 in the UK if this fight was against Loma at the MEN Arena on pay-per-view? Don't know. Just my opinions. What do you guys think? Let me know. Peace.